Step back in time to an era when fortunes were measured in ounces and dreams weighed as heavy as the gold they sought. In this captivating journey, we'll delve deep into the annals of history to uncover the most monumental weigh-ins that defined the legendary gold rush. Welcome to the biggest weigh-ins in gold rush history. Get ready to strike gold with us as we unveil the colossal, the dramatic, and the unforgettable weigh-ins that shaped an era of ambition, hardship, and unbridled determination. This game-changing gold pays for Parker's trip to nugget-rich Smith Creek, ensures a season total of 192 ounces, and propels him to the Klondike, where Parker records the 3 largest weekly gold weighs on Gold Rush. Parker's largest weigh-in to date is 25 ounces, which is worth $88,000. By far the biggest weigh-ins in Gold Rush history. In 2018, 955 ounces was valued more over $1 million. It was a whopping 1,168 ounces in 2021, with a $2 million payday, and an all-time scale-busting gold weigh, 2,294 ounces, worth over $4.4 million in 2020. Tony runs the dredge for 20 hours to see if his $1 million bet on the 75-year-old dredge paid off. Tony's goal is to make a profit. Tony needs the dredge to generate 1 ounce each hour in order to make a profit. Tony's dredge produces record-breaking gold throughout the next 4 seasons of mining, amassing about 6,000 ounces in 2022, worth more than $10 million. Parker, Rick, and Tony work late into the night to realize their gold mining goal. Parker returns to Alaska after 6 months of mining in the Klondike to disclose his final gold total. The operation expands in tandem with the young prodigy's objectives. Big Red and the wash plant from Hell are running 2 wash plants. The plants have engaged in a gold mining fight over the years, with Slucifer bringing in over 21,000 ounces worth over $31 million. However, Old Faithful Big Red takes the top spot. A whopping 26,000 ounces worth nearly $37 million were delivered. 4 days later, the group gathers to determine whether Parker's risk in running bedrock was worthwhile. They weighed in at 484.1 ounces, a whopping $870,000. Mud Mountain breaks record after record in the last weeks of the season. As Tony Beets' crew runs their equipment for 25 hours straight, they hope to have broken a curse and delivered gold. After counting, they discover that they have 6 ounces of gold valued more than $11,000. This achievement motivates them to keep working hard and looking for more gold as they move further into the ground. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel departs for Fairbanks, putting supervisor Mitch in charge of getting 2 plants operational in 5 days. To optimize their gold extraction process, Mitch intends to drag the Slucifer onto a big area and install the giant stacker. Before Parker returns from Alaska, the crew is scrambling to set up the sluice for running pay dirt. The 120-foot super stacker is connected and successfully reaches the pre-wash. Parker's crew begins running pay soil through the wash plants and is pleased with the results. Parker gives the crew an update on his Alaska venture, where they're ready to strip and build a plant pad. Parker is 1 step closer to mining out the 90-acre airfield, now that both wash units are operational. However, there are certain drawbacks, such as a conveyor problem and a blown-out engine. Despite these difficulties, Parker's other wash plant, Big Red, has been sluicing simple street cut pay all week, yielding a gold haul worth more than $290,000. The team is ecstatic about surpassing the previous year's ounce count and plans to keep pushing forward. Tony Beets and his squad are under pressure to have a record-breaking season. Their shaker deck, on the other hand, shuts down twice, producing dissatisfaction. They are unable to locate a 2-foot stretch of sea channel that has been broken off the wash plant, making their operation difficult. Despite the setbacks, they improvise by welding the sea channel back in place to keep the material going. Finally, they may begin processing the tailings and hope to see their efforts rewarded by the discovery of more gold. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel is upbeat about the season's early start and the possibility of covering their expenses with the gold they uncover. As the Beets family weighs their gold for the week, Monica returns with their granddaughter, bringing some joy amidst the challenges. On Gold Rush, Tony Beets, Parker Schnabel, and others discuss their best gold finds. Tony says that they made almost $310,000 from the last of the old-timer tailings. Parker also claims that they discovered gold worth more than $145,000 in just a few days. The overall amount of gold mined for the week is nearly $460,000, which is more than double the amount mined at the same time last year. They are overjoyed with the results and anticipate making even more money in gold in the future. In another section, Fred Lewis and Brandon Clayton collaborate to boost their output by pooling their resources and talents. They feel that by working together, they can significantly improve production while also maximizing their earnings. Tony Beets and his crew are ecstatic about their significant gold discovery, which include Fred's largest gold haul to date and the potential to double their productivity. Tony's efforts, however, are thwarted by frozen ground and a massive chunk of frost obstructing the conveyor belt, resulting in significant delay and gold loss. Despite these setbacks, Tony is determined to get his season back on track with the assistance of the 80 pup and to achieve his gold ambitions. Tony supervises the procedure and urges his team not to step on the mats because any downtime costs money. Despite some lost gold and downtime, the Beets have discovered over $328,000 in gold, making their season total to nearly $2.3 million. Parker Schnabel, on the other hand, is struggling to meet his goal of 2,000 ounces of gold and is concerned about sending his staff home with insufficient gold. He has to find the high-grade pay layer before the winter, but he is still 800 ounces short. Troy Taylor, the landowner, makes Rick an unexpected offer to sell the property for a down payment of 150 ounces of gold. Rick should consider the offer because he has already spent a lot of money on equipment and is struggling to make a profit. Rick hires Kyle Lawson, a former iron worker, to run both wash facilities by himself in order to enhance output. Despite his nervousness, Kyle accepts the challenge and effectively controls the facility. They eagerly await the discovery of gold in the box, thinking that this inventive approach will assist them in reaching their aim. On Gold Rush, Tony Beets, Parker Schnabel, and others make some remarkable gold discoveries. Tony Beets finds 219.8 ounces of gold from Monster Red and 95 ounces from Rocky, totaling almost $500,000 in gold. Parker Schnabel receives his largest gold weigh yet from Raleigh Valley and makes a significant investment in purchasing new acreage. Tony Beets wants to expand his mining operations in Keno by prospecting fresh terrain. He digs test holes and discovers some potential gold indicators. Overall, these gold miners are pursuing intriguing advancements and lofty aims. Tony Beets and his crew are establishing a new mining operation that will extract gold from dirt using a ball with a strainer. They employ a lengthy pump to speed up the process and are happy with the results when they discover some gold. Tony is encouraged by this discovery and explores extending the operation with his family. Meanwhile, Parker Schnabel is weighing his gold and is thrilled with the results, which exceed their season's greatest gold weigh. Despite the difficulties they've encountered this season, Parker is determined to keep mining and make the most of the remaining weeks. Subscribe now for more thrilling updates and hit that notification bell to be alerted when there is a next post. Tony Beets and Parker Schnabel are each determined to reach their gold goals. Parker's team has reached half of their total ounces from last year, with 700 ounces needed to relocate Big Red to Mud Mountain. Meanwhile, Tony is motivated to have his best season yet after investing in new gear. Both, though, confront difficulties along the route, with Tony coping with equipment problems and Parker relying on the success of their road extension. Despite the challenges, they stay driven and enthusiastic about their chances of success and profit. Tony Beets is determined to make up for his shortfall in gold ounces and cover his off-season investment. He plans to sell his fleet of barges for $1 million, but his buyer drops out, leaving Tony with added pressure to deliver the gold he needs. Despite the setback, the Beets family has their best ever season in terms of gold production. Tony remains hopeful for the future and aims to reach his original goal of 9,000 ounces next year. Shocking discovery made by researchers. Find out now by clicking on the next video.
Yeah, this is Rick Ness. Yeah, I think you got something of mine. Listen, I know that you took my 10-inch suction line, all right? No, I know. No, hey, listen, you listen. You took something that belongs to me, and I want it back. This
Rick Ness has struggled to make a comeback after taking some personal time off, but now Rick is up against rivals in the area who would see his destruction. He has discovered a neighboring miner stole his only suction line that feeds vital water to his wash plan. Without it, Rick has no hope of getting on the gold. How will Rick face off against thieves? In this cutthroat industry, any wrong move could see his career and life destroyed.
You're not gonna believe this. I found a suction line. Where? Some on the other side of the mountain took it.
Rick is driving down a very muddy and wet road toward his worksite at high speed. He is in a state of emergency. When he jumps out of his truck, he immediately pulls out his phone and tells the person on the other line that he knows they took his 10-inch suction line. He is cursing and arguing and tells the person on the line that he needs to listen. Insistent that he knows they stole his property, he raises his voice and tells them that he needs his stuff back. After asking around, Rick has discovered that a neighboring miner has stolen his only suction line that he desperately needs to get his operation going. Without this vital piece, he cannot pay back his debts or get back on his feet. A wash plant cannot operate without water, and that is what the suction line provides. After his phone call, Rick begins calling out for his best friend, Z, and telling him that he found out a guy on the other side of the mountain took the suction line. Rick explains that his source of information was Kyle, who worked for him last season. According to Kyle, the guy who stole the suction line had been asking around for one, and later, he saw the thief searching around the area where Rick's suction line was left. Z is stunned that anyone would just steal like that. Rick is having a hard time controlling his anger, as he says he cannot stand stealing, and he promises Z that he will get back his suction line. Rick runs to his truck and goes racing toward the neighbor's worksite. On his way there, he comes across a pair of men driving toward him in a big SUV, and he pulls up next to them, both their windows down to communicate. When they disclose their identities, their faces and names are blurred out.
I'll turn around, you can follow me down there.
And we learn that they are not the thief from the phone call. Rick tells them to follow him back to his site. As the two strangers drive around to follow him, Rick turns to the camera and says he knew the thief would not have the guts to see him face to face, so he sent his 2 employees to return the suction line for him. Rick says he is trying to control his anger because he just caught a glimpse of the suction line on the trailer and it is all messed up and smashed. If the suction line is unusable, then he plans to drive straight out to confront the thief in person and knock his teeth out.
I'm trying to keep my together right now because I just saw it on the trailer and it's all up. If this ain't usable, I'm driving straight out there. I'm gonna knock his teeth out.
This entire situation has been testing Rick's patience like nothing ever has before. When he gets out of the truck to examine the suction line more closely, he starts to laugh in anger when he sees the condition of his property.
Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. It's destroyed.
In an effort to calm down, he goes over to Z to describe the condition of the suction line, describing how even the basket is destroyed. We learn that the hose has been crushed flat, and they use duct tape to try and piece it back together. Rick storms away in anger, and he uses the excavator to remove the suction line and basket off of the truck bed and just lets it clatter to the ground. After that, he yells at the quickly disappearing SUV of the thieves and tells them that he is going to pay a visit to their boss soon.
Tell your boss I'm coming for a visit.
Rick is still fuming, shaking in anger and adrenaline as he stares at the junk they brought him back, and he wonders why they would even send it back when it is clearly unusable. Rick turns to Z and tells him he thinks they should go up there and get a new suction line from the thieves, but Z advises him to calm down and look at things rationally. Rick is stubborn and says that he is owed a new suction line from them and won't let this issue go. Z agrees that they are owed better, but their situation requires them to choose a path that would be the quickest, safest option, and then they can deal with the rest later. Z tells him that he should just ask to borrow a suction line and wait to cool off to deal with the thief. Rick thanks him for his sound advice, and they both get back to setting up their wash plant. After that intense confrontation, Z and Rick get to work, sluicing some stockpiled pay dirt from the Rally Valley cut. The two of them have made quick work of the pay dirt, and things have been going very well for them. As they scoop in the last bit of pay dirt for the day into the wash plant,
we also see the bedrock contact coming in here. And in between, I think, is the paleo channel.
Well, that's perfect.
Rick explains that he's just excited and relieved to see some gold being gathered after too long a journey to even get started. Rick pauses the wash plant and takes a close look to see how much gold is sitting in the box. He finds it difficult to see through the dirty water, and Z thinks there is too much dirt filtering through the plant. And if even he can spot the flaws in their operation, he considers it a very bad sign. A few tense moments pass where neither of the men spots any gold in the wash plant, when finally Z locates a chunk of gold. They bask in a moment of pride and reflect on what a difficult journey it has been to get to this moment. Rick passes Z the first bit of gold they found and says that it's for him to keep because he's so thankful for his hard work and dedication. Things are looking bright for Rick Ness. Over at Duncan Creek, Rick Ness is on top of the world as he clears overburden out of the creek cut so that he can have a large stockpile of pay dirt constantly feeding his wash plant. He is feeling confident about this because this cut helped them reach their goal last year, and he hopes it will pull them through to their goals this year too. Only 5 weeks into the season, and he has already mined 250 ounces of gold. This is Rick's fastest and most lucrative beginning ever. The only issue he has now is that they are running out of pay dirt from the creek cut. The consistency they've been experiencing will soon run dry. According to Rick, they only have around 4 days worth of pay dirt in the next strip, so to progress, they need to expand their operation and spend more money. As the workers load up more pay dirt for the wash plant, they notice that Rick looks to be ready to announce something. Rick tells his crew that they need to move locations soon and that he has picked out a place upstream, hoping to get similar results.
I hate to make guesses, and I won't, but I will say that it looks good. It looks really good. Like some of the best I've seen it in that box, so.
If the pay streak from the creek cut continues under the 26 acres of frozen ground to the west of them, it could hold over 1,000 ounces in gold. The biggest problem with this plan is that there is permafrost in the area, which means that it has never been mined. However, they have never dealt with permafrost before. They crew decide that they'll use the new dozer to tackle their permafrost problem. This will cost quite a bit of money. The dozer cost $500,000 and burns $2,500 of fuel a day, which amounts to the same operating cost of all of the other equipment Rick owns combined. However, this dozer was built to be able to open up ground with frost points. It pushes 2 rock trucks worth of dirt in one scoop. The dozer weighs over 300,000 pounds and begins to sink into the soft dirt. This causes the operator to slow down and eventually become stuck in the dirt. Rick is called to help pull the dozer out of the deep mud. Rick is worried by this delay because it is necessary for him to keep stripping land, and any delay could cause his entire operation to stop completely. The removal of the dirt begins, and Rick believes that as soon as he digs out all of that soft soil and mud out of the way, the wheels of the dozer will get more traction and allow it to move forward with ease. His focus remains on getting back to work as fast as possible. As Rick digs, he and Brennan coordinate to avoid any collisions between the two massive machines. Rick manages to remove the last bit of mud, and the dozer is free. The quick rescue leaves them in good spirits, and they hurry to get more pay dirt ready. We hope you enjoyed some of Rick's best moments on Gold Rush. Thanks so much for watching. If you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.
There's 40, going 50, awesome. 60, 70. No way. 82.37.